Gary Clarke with his targets set. He knows what he has to do in this final match of the night. A win qualifies him. That is of the bottom line. A draw isn't the end of the world. Into a 6-red shootout he goes. Defeat, and he's out the competition. All 3 results have a live outcome. And Neil Raybone, a player who has really struggled tonight, a world-class player, one of the best in the world, no question, but one who has not looked anywhere near his brilliant best, is the man tasked with stopping the runaway train. And I wonder if Neil can really throw a stick in Gary Wheel's spokes.
You saw Gary straight away. I mean, that was a huge explosion for him, but the cue ball was always tracking. You saw on the replay there, his eyes were fixed on that cue ball all the way up the table. Heartbreak as it's bounced in. Neil's not been at the races tonight, as you say, but if he gets off to a nice start here, there's no pressure on him. He's completely free rolling now. Just could sign off with a nice performance.
I actually think, in a strange way, dangerous player to play, because he's obviously really not been at it so far tonight, but to the point where you imagine he'll be really motivated to actually put in a bit of a performance.
Yeah, just sort of show that he's better than he showed tonight.
You just wonder.
May not be able to get particularly close to this last red. Just has to accept distance and the right line. It's a good last ball for the 8-ball.
Well, is it about to show up?
Slightly tricky layout still. Still sort of bouncing off that front ball. You see other players tonight really driving through the pack, and Neil's not quite getting that explosion. And he can do. He can show power. He often loses control when he puts his complete power out there, but he's not quite been on it tonight. I don't think he's quite timing the ball particularly well. We've seen that in, obviously, hand on the table. In amongst the frames. Tricky layout, but it does look like if he gets onto the plant, he'd be happy enough top right. I think he'd more likely do that than... Well, I don't think he can get there from here. Might try. Obviously the one nearest the pocket is not too bad to deal with, but you leave the other one there and then it becomes a problem. Load this up with side, he can get there. Oh, that's a beautiful shot. Possibly the best shot he's played all night long.
I just wonder if we're about to see a proper Neil Raybone performance. It's by no means the end of the world for Gary Clarke. He would have been expecting this. But we haven't seen a proper Neil Raybone performance tonight. It would be a big test all of a sudden.
Christy Caulfield will be very happy if he sees that from Neil. Oh, it's not a good layout. It's not a good layout. That Gary's looking for something a lot better than this. Lost the cue ball on the break. Still with loads of power, but nothing on for him. So he's just got to hand the table over.
It's not really the position you want to be in.
No, that'd be one thing if it was 0-0 in the opening frame of the match, but 2-0 down when you've not had a go yet. That's the last thing you wanted to see. And he handed a half a sniff here to Neil.
And a confident Neil Raybone fancies these.
Yeah, because the red that's the most awkward on the right-hand side. That wasn't ideal. I was about to say the red on the right-hand side isn't too bad for a double. He was just a touch short on that first shot, which meant he couldn't quite get the breakout he wanted on the red on the left-hand side, so that now remains a big problem for him. That sort of went wrong from the first shot for Neil, not the second. So he's allowing Gary into the match. Is he on the one bottom right? If he is, he's okay. I think he is. He could have done with hitting that just a touch firmer just to get that yellow into play more. Obviously it has opened it up now, but not ideal to get onto it. Might take it top left now. Well, if he can drop it in the centre pocket, he will, but I'm not sure he can get to the potting angle in the centre, but he can definitely take it long. Make the case that he should. I don't think he'll get better on it.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it?
And he's not taking it. Oh, he is. I think he's just looking at what he's going to leave. Thought he was gearing himself up to go in the centre, but he knows it's the right shot.
Big shot. Well executed.
Has possibly just come back a touch too far. They got the potting side of the shot right. Yeah, because he came a touch too far, he just dropped that in, and now he's hampered. He wanted to be able to get to the centre of the cue ball so he could just stun between the two final yellows.
Pretty good pot. Pretty good pot. He'll take that. These aren't exactly two ideal last yellows, but it's not a terrible situation. Punchy potter, isn't he, Gary?
Yeah, does he try and punch this one and target the red? Just slightly worried that he could run behind it. Or do you float it in and leave a slightly longer 8-ball? He was just straight enough not to worry about the red.
Well, a big frame in the match. The difference for Gary here. Remember, Neil had first go. Between 3-0 and 2-1 was huge, and that one just wobbled, but in it went.
Oh, he could be.
Oh, so nearly a golden duck. That was nearly 2-2 in an instant.
I mean, it's a poor break, and again it bounced off the front ball. He really isn't sort of driving the power through at all. Just sense he's just not timing the ball tonight. Considering how close he was to losing the frame in one shot.
Oh, now then.
Yeah, he didn't leave the best of layouts for Gary, actually. Gary had to try and force an opening shot. That's why he's missed the pot. It was all about the cannon. So often you get cue ball in hand and you get fairly routine layouts. That wasn't one of those for Gary. Sometimes a little bit deflating as well, because you see the cue ball fly straight in and you're like, right, I'm going to get a great chance here. And then you see the cue ball hit the jaws, and the 8-ball hit the jaws, and you're thinking, oh, this could be in one shot. And all of a sudden you look at the layout and you think, hang on a minute, I've got some issues here.
Oh, it's been a good week this week, hasn't it?
It has.
You've never quite known what's happening. It's kept us right in suspense all the way through.
This feels like a very big moment, that mistake from Gary. 3-1 with under 7 to play. It's going to be tough. Obviously, he just has to get to the draw to keep his hopes alive, but it's going to feel tough for him.
Well, Neil Raybone 3-1 in front. 7 minutes and ticking of the match clock remains. And Neil Raybone on the hill. It's been much more like it for Neil in this match. Right now, those two options feel the most likely. Or can Gary Clarke run 3 straight to qualify himself outright? It's a terrible break, but it's a great break in the same sentence. Complete miss it here.
Yeah, Gary's worst break of the night by a distance. Yet it doesn't look like a bad layout.
No.
This is actually very doable.
It's such a stupid game at times, isn't it?
It's very doable. You can just float this in, and the red on the furthest left does pass the yellow, I think, to the corner. It may not be, well, it isn't the full pocket. You can see that there on the overhead. It might not even drop in.
Oh, he can take it bottom right. It's horrible queuing. Position's pretty much guaranteed, though, you'd suspect. Didn't want to be sat on this yellow like this. He can go again, though.
I think it's okay the way he's gone about that. He wanted a fuller contact on the yellow to hold himself a touch straighter. He's just sort of skimmed underneath it a little bit. But if he makes the pot...
Yeah, the way he played the shot before last, I thought, well, it doesn't go. Ooh, but it was tight.
It was really tight and off angle. That was really awkward, and that could be the final blow for Gary Clarke. That's, yeah, a tough one for him because he's played so well tonight. He really has.
Yeah, been excellent. So too is Christy Caulfield, it must be said. Is there any late twists?
That's a nice little subtle touch there from Neil. Just bumped the red, guaranteed to be on that ball into left centre, but now he's got a pocket for the 8 ball from yellow right centre.
There'll be a part of Neil Raybone wondering where this was earlier on tonight, but this is what he can do. And full credit to him for putting in a performance good enough to knock out a very, very good Gary Clarke.